Yeah, my name is Markos Lemma. I am the co-founder and managing director of iceaddis. ICE stands for Innovation, Collaboration, Entrepreneurship. I am from Ethiopia, so we've been establishing iceaddis, which is a co-working space, innovation hub, and also the first tech startup incubator in Ethiopia in 2011. So for the last 6 years, we've been working with a lot of techies, a lot of developers, and startup founders. So that's my background. But I also work with MIT Media Lab with a research project with child literacy, and I'm also a blogger and activist for online presence. And web empowers every businesses, right? So in Republica, we're now talking about we should not actually let others to hijack the whole web presence. And in my work, first we need to look into the data. So when we start iceaddis, for instance, the internet penetration was only 0.4%, and a lot of people say, okay, how do you make an impact with 0.4% internet penetration? But and a lot of also critics who say, okay, how does tech startup works in Ethiopia when all other sectors are priority sectors? But our argument is of course, all the other sectors are also on the same stage. Right now, the internet is 6.5%, but Ethiopia is a big country, so already more than 6 million people are connected, and then it's increasingly connecting. And so our work is very much based on web activities. So in one hand, we need to advocate for access, and also to have less censorship from the government side. And we also teach people how to use web properly. So I think that's really complementing each other, in many aspects. So it's really helped us to reach people. Even when there was 0.4% internet, we use internet, the main communication channel, to attract people. And then that's actually how our community grow. Within 6 years now, we reach 6,000 people in Ethiopia. So that's a great resource we have, basically. Yeah, so the whole idea of iceaddis started when we in the university. So we are asking very simple questions. If you have a great idea, and then if you're a university graduate, where do you go? Where do you start? I mean, in most developed countries or in Silicon Valley, there are so many resources are there, but the question is very complex because in Ethiopia, you don't get this support mechanism in place. So the first motivation is how do we create a one-stop shop for people to get investment-related, legal, accounting, and all these kind of services in one place. That's actually our first motivation. But then we're also looking into other organizations. So there is iHub in Kenya. They do similar work like us, and worldwide media labs like MIT Media Lab also, they do similar things. So we're trying to really learn from other countries. But the most important motivation was to create space for young students in the university. So our team was growing in the last 2 years a lot. So we're now 12 people working for iceaddis. But this is only the core team. But we also have people working part-time with us, and then there is also the community talent that we are engaging them through different projects and workshops and events and all this kind of stuff. There are much more people involving in our activities. So yeah, so the team is actually really growing in this regard. The reason, the first time I came to Republica because of my blogging, and we're trying to establish the blogging community in Ethiopia. So in say in 2010, we made a research that there are only 20 bloggers in the entire country who's blogging in English. So, I mean, Ethiopia is over 90 million people. So the number is extremely small, and there is a reason for that. Of course, the internet penetration is one reason, but also there is a lot of government censorship, and then many of the services like bloggers.com, for instance, was blocked at the time. So there is a huge need for this kind of community involvement. And even the 20 bloggers at the time, they don't even know each other. So we're trying to link them together and bringing a physical space for them to meet and talk. And that was actually one of the reasons why I was really interested in blogging at the time. But then I was blogging a lot. I'm not a political blogger, but I blog about technology and tech and web role in facilitating social interaction and creating, the positive sphere in developing countries. So Yeah, that's actually like how I involved. But then I started writing for Global Voices, and then also for other online magazines. And yeah, I mean, I don't really blog that much anymore, but that's actually how I started some time ago. Right now, like we support a lot of startups in Ethiopia. Most of them are, like social entrepreneurs. So they want to solve real life problems. Like we always say, like we need to find a local solution for local problems, instead of copy pasting what's happening somewhere else. And so most of the startups are working on education, health, and media and communication and transparency and all these different issues. And then of course they also engage with potential investors and stuff like that. And right now we also have the Global Innovation Gathering. It's a community of innovators throughout the world. It's like most of them are coming from Africa, Philippines, Brazil. We come to Republica every year to talk about, like what are the most challenging we face, because challenges are very similar. It doesn't matter you're in Brazil or in Ethiopia. And also what are the opportunities and lessons we can learn from each other. So we are in Republica for the last 2 days, but also we're gonna have our own workshop in the next 2 days to talk about these things. And one of the main topic is to take Republica to Africa. I hope that's gonna happen anytime soon. So yeah. So my story. Well, I believe in two things. Like the first thing is I believe that like everybody should have access to technology. I'm not talking about high-tech VR kind of technology, but basic technology for people to improve their life. And the second thing is like everybody also should think about really critical thinking, not following things without imagining. So this will be like really my story since I was in college, like really try to work everything towards these two values and try to connect this through different of my activities. So I think that's my story.